Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome into Busch League, presented by St. Louis Sports. It's Colten Kaler along with Luke Kotcher. Happy Labor Day to those celebrating today. Luke and I would not know because we both had to go to school today. We did not have the day off. So, Luke, after class, how was the rest of your Labor Day?
It was great. I did some homework on my Labor Day after my classes, and then got to watch the Cardinals get their crap knocked in the afternoon. So I'm doing great today. What about you?
I didn't do homework.
Okay.
I still have yet to do a little bit of that, but that shouldn't be too terribly difficult for tomorrow. I am currently also working on getting an article out here at St. Louis Sports, so be on the lookout for that tonight. And yeah, like you, I just watched the Cardinals just get absolutely dominated by a team 40 games under 500. So we're doing great. I mean, on this Labor Day, we had school, there's homework, a little bit of writing, and then the Cardinals just getting beat up by the Washington Nationals. So whatever life wants to throw me today, we'll be able to handle it. I mean, let's start there. Coming off a sweep of the Chicago Cubs, emotions are riding high. Albert has another big home run on Sunday afternoon to lift the Cardinals 2-0, and then they lay a goose egg today. I mean, just a disappointing performance offensively.
Yeah, I mean it's not over yet, but it's pretty much over at this point. You know, the Nationals are pretty bad this year, but they're coming off a pretty big series win against the Mets. They won 2 out of 3 in New York, out of all places as well. So they're kind of riding a high right now, and so are the Cardinals. But I got a text from my buddy that they're going to score 12 runs tomorrow after this awful performance today. So I'm kind of riding on that right now.
I mean, I like the optimism.
Oh yeah.
But today there was a lot to be excited about. Albert, everything that he did yesterday, his last at bat, pinch hit home run against the Cubs. And then Jack Flaherty comes back today, and we are all excited to see what he would bring, because the first time around with Jack Flaherty was not good. Early June, he did not look good. He still looked, he was laboring, and he goes back on the IL for a little bit. Today, I mean, 5 innings, 91 pitches, 6 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 6 Ks. He looked good. I mean,
Yeah.
and a guy that could be big in this rotation.
Yeah, and we don't really have like a strikeout guy in our rotation. All of our guys kind of play to the ground, but Jack Flaherty, if he comes back to even close to what he was in 2019, he could be our strikeout guy in the rotation. I don't want to see him in the bullpen. I want to see him as a starter. I don't think he would work well in the bullpen at all. But some of his pitches didn't look great, but other ones looked really good, especially some of the swing and miss stuff that he got today. And his first start back, like I will take 5 innings, 1 run all day.
No, I agree. This was a big step forward for him and for the team today, and he won't be in the bullpen, and they made that clear because they optioned Dakota Hudson down to Memphis to make room for Flaherty, and then they also had to DFA Junior Fernandez. So unfortunately, he'll probably likely get picked up by someone else. I have a bad feeling, and whoever does is going to end up with a guy that throws upper 90s and a lot of velocity there. So. It's unfortunate that we have to see him go, but getting Jack back and getting Dakota Hudson out of the starting rotation is hopefully a step in the right direction for this team that's trending in the right direction.
Yeah, losing Junior is tough. He throws a 100 sinker. That's just any team's going to pick him up on that. He just got to learn some control, and that's why he's not up in the majors right now. Really like him, but yeah, when I saw that Dak got optioned today, I immediately thought, oh, Colton's going to be super excited for this one. He's gone. But they're going to bring him back up September 17th, I think, for the doubleheader, which will be good. So he'll get some starts down in Memphis, maybe learn some control, get better pitches, get his sinker slider a little bit better. But yeah, Jack looked great today. I'm excited he's back, and I'm kind of expecting him to get better as time goes on. I kind of hope so. He got his feet wet with a pretty bad team today. Only 1 run, so just keep it going for him.
You also have to look at a guy, and we talked about this last week, Steven Matz. He went out currently out on a rehab assignment, working his way to get back up with the big league team. He'll be out of the bullpen, so that also solidifies Jack in the starting rotation. But the Cardinals really need Jack to be what he can really, I think, to win the World Series. This team definitely has the right pieces right now to do it. Jordan Montgomery is like what, a 1.36 ERA and 6 starts as a Cardinal. I mean, he's been absolutely phenomenal. Harrison Bader, by the way, is still not playing for the Yankees. Jose Quintana, he's been roughed up a little bit in his last few starts, but overall he's been very helpful for the lineup. Wainwright got roughed up in his last start, but Cardinals come out with the win, so all is good there. Overall, I mean, up and down, and Miles Michaelis goes out and battles yesterday as well. Up and down, this rotation looks loads better than where we were in June.
Yeah, I don't know how we got so far. We had Palante as a starter. We've kind of with Thompson or Liberatore as another starter, but I don't like Flaherty in the bullpen, but I love Steven Matz being in the bullpen. If he can come back, I think he can be a great longevity lefty guy that can come in for Quintana if he has a rough start, or Waino if he has a rough start coming down the stretch. He starts in Springfield tomorrow, so that'll be interesting to see the report on that. But our rotation and our bullpen before today has looked really, really good. I saw something like a 0.2 ERA for the bullpen before today in the last 10 games or something like that. They've looked really, really good. And I know how much you hate on Gio, on Gallegos, but he's looked really sharp his past few games. And seeing Luke Voit today just made me think of Gallegos and what the return we got for him was.
No, let me clear the air here. I don't hate Gio. I love Gio. Gio's my guy. I mean, he threw me a ball during batting practice on opening day. Go. So Gio is my guy. But my heart goes up, my anxiety and everything. It's up and down all over the wall when typically he's in a game. And it's because, sometimes he makes it a little more interesting. So, but don't get me wrong. I love the guy, and I think he's going to be a pivotal part of the back end of the bullpen for years to come. It just might give me, a little anxiety attack every now and then in the 8th or 9th inning. So,
right.
But the one thing that we can't do is we can't discount that they are 40 games under now, on their way to 39. But the Nats are playing great baseball stuff late. I mean, they just came off a series win over the Mets. The Mets have been struggling lately. Cardinals are, were closing in on possibly getting to that second spot. I don't know if that's possible. What do you think?
I don't think so either. Particularly with the Mets, I don't think they're going to have that big of a downfall. They have they're the team above us with the easiest schedule in the MLB. They only play two series with teams that are over 500. I'm not too worried too concerned that we will get over them. Be nice. Don't have to play in the wild card. But I'm also planning a trip for that weekend for the wild card weekend and maybe go to a game or two. So if they just want to keep where they are and we play the Padres in the first round, I'll take that if they can't catch up to the Mets.
I am kind of starting to look a little bit at, when postseason tickets would be available, trying to plan that around football season and everything else. I mean, if there's going to be a weekend, I'm going to have to be down there. I mean, it's going to happen, especially, I think if you get the Padres in town, that first round, that could be pretty wild, I think. No pun intended. But, yeah, I mean, overall, Jack looked good. The Nats, they're playing great baseball. But looking forward, these are also games that we have to win, though.
Yeah.
Milwaukee was up 6-3 last I saw. They're up 6-4 currently in the top of the 9th. Yeah, with a runner on. So they are still leading by 2. So this lead could shrink down to 7.5 by the end of the night, currently at 8.5. And St. Louis is likely going to lose today.
Yeah. 8.5, 7.5. I don't think it's a huge deal. I think we come out and win these next 2 games. I would hope so. Win the series against the Nationals. I hope we don't go that far down. But, the adversity of this team, July 30th, we were 3 games behind the Brewers. And today at the start of play, we're 8.5 above them. That is crazy to me. The Brewers, they're, since then they're a little bit under 500, but they haven't completely done a downfall yet. They've lost a couple series here and there, but it's not like, they're going down completely. They're still on the hunt. But, the adversity of this team and what we got from the trade deadline just completely boosted us. And of course, Albert Pujols doing what he does.
Yeah, and we talked about it last week, and it seemed like 700 was going to be tough, but I mean, the guy just continues to hit home runs, especially in big moments. And now it seems more and more realistic. He's still got to get one more to tie A-Rod. And then from there, it's down to 4. And we also play the Pirates quite a bit down the stretch of the season. But, let's go to yesterday. First off, I texted you, thank you, David Ross. But what are you doing? I mean, why on earth would you pitch to Albert Pujols? Nah, I get it. You're not going to make the playoffs, whatever. But what are you doing?
I kind of wore this shirt around Peoria today on purpose to kind of rub it into all the Cubs fans' faces around here. But I don't know how he still has a job. I would get it if you guys are down, by like 10 runs. You're in a 10-0 game. But Marcus Stroman pitched really well. And so did Miles Michaelis. And it was a 0-0 game. And you put in a lefty when we have the best lefty in the league sitting on our bench. Like, it's a no-brainer you go to a righty there, and David Ross goes to a lefty. And, I don't know how he still has a job. He just got an extension this year, and makes no sense. Albert got a free home run off a AAA lefty. So
Rossi's a G for that one. Whether he's trying to help him get to 700 or not, I don't know. But what are you? That's a dumb manager move right there.
It is.
And again, it in the grand scheme of things, it means nothing for Chicago. They're not making the playoffs.
No,
they're bad. Likely going to lose a few players by the end of the year. That's why I want to get to you as well. There's been rumors that Wilson Contreras, the Cardinals are very much in play, maybe one of 2 teams in play. Albert Pujols hits that home run, and there was a video yesterday where Wilson Contreras comments legend about Albert Pujols. Are we going to do a little foreshadowing here to maybe see Wilson Contreras at the age of 30 coming to St. Louis?
I've said this the whole season, and I don't think Wilson Contreras goes back to Chicago at the end of the year. He didn't get traded. I don't see him re-signing. But whatever team does pick him up are going to have to give up a lot of money for him because, any team wants a catcher like that can hit 30 home runs a year. And obviously, we're going to need a catcher next year. I don't see Kisner being our long-term. I don't see Herrera yet being our long-term yet. We got a couple guys in the minors that just aren't ready yet. I look at Contreras. I look at Sean Murphy. I think he's pretty good. But, the rumors about Contreras are really interesting to me. And I don't think Chicago fans will be very happy if he goes to the bus home to St. Louis.
I would love to see it because as soon as it happens, like that jersey is on order and it's being shipped to my house. Like, right. I love Yachty, but the last time when was the last time we've seen a Cardinals hitter or a Cardinals catcher hit for power and actually kind of, do something a little bit. The last few years of Yachty haven't been great. Hitting wise.
I like Matt Wieters. He had some power, but he was still a backup.
If you're relying on Matt Wieters to be your power hitting catcher, you're screwed in the first place. So, my girlfriend would be distraught. She would hate the Cubs even more, but I would be happy, and I'd be willingly to buy her a Contreras Cardinals jersey and try and get her to come to the good side. I'll strike out on that probably every single time, but it's worth a shot, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. I would love to wear a Contreras jersey around Bradley's campus, a Cardinals Contreras jersey. I think I might get jumped around Peoria wearing that, but I think it would be so worth it if that actually happened.
I don't see how, because there's really one hole that this team has to fill in a lineup. The Tommy Edman has really had a resurgence here as of late. He's got to be the starting shortstop. Brendan Donovan's likely going to be your starting second baseman. Nolan Gorman's going to be your DH, fill-in second baseman. I don't know how you don't have the willingness to spend a little bit of money at the catcher's position when that's really the one hole you have to fill.
Yeah, and we got a lot of guys from the minors coming up too, man. Like we got Alec Burleson that's probably going to be up next year. I don't see him coming up this year anymore, but he'll be a power lefty off the bench. But Jordan Walker and Mason Wood will be knocking on the door next year as well. But I don't see Corey Dickerson coming back next year. I think I see Alec Burleson taking that kind of spot as the bench guy. But yeah, Gorman, Donovan, Edmond kind of share the middle infield there, and obviously Goldie and Arenado have the corners. But catcher is what we're really going to be lacking, and I think we have to shop around. I do like Sean Murphy. If we don't get Contreras, I think he's a solid catcher. Obviously plays in Oakland, plays on a bad team, so those numbers won't be as high as they should be. But I like him too, and there's not a ton of other ones, but the Cardinals always seem to find a way. I didn't think Jordan Montgomery was available to be traded, but you never know with the Cardinals at this point.
Right. Well, and then also, you've got to look at maybe one starter to sign, possibly, maybe not though, because if Wainwright comes back, you're going to take him. You've got Miles Michaelis, you'll have Steven Matz, you'll have Jack Flaherty. Hey, also we get this guy named Alex Reyes back next year. Mm-hmm. What role he's going to play in? Probably it's going to be a bullpen role again. You throw him in that bullpen, good Lord. You throw possibly, Jordan Montgomery, is that 5 right there that I've named off? Is
that's 5 starters.
Montgomery, and then you also have this guy named Matthew Liberatore who will probably be tearing down the door next year as well. You also have Dakota Hudson if he ever decides to figure it out. I'd love to see it. I don't dislike the guy. He's just not a good pitcher right now.
He's coming off of Tommy John from last year. Every pitcher that comes off of Tommy John has an influx season, and I think he'll just come back next year better. But we're still going to have the same starting pitcher problem next year of too many starting pitchers, it feels like.
Mm-hmm. And then, your bullpen has been relatively strong this year. Hopefully you can get Cabby back up and have him be strong because if you have a closing bullpen of Cabrera, Hicks, Reyes, Gallegos, Helsley. Come on. And Zach Thompson. Come on.
We're going Palante in there too.
Oh yeah. Also, Andre Palante. Forgot about that guy. He was roughed up today, but
yeah,
that was a lot of unfortunate luck for Palante today.
Yeah, a lot of balls hit to the other side, or bloopies over Nolan Arenado's head or something like that. He's had a great year. Nobody really thought he'd be up at the beginning of this year, but he had a good Arizona Fall League, and then he came in at spring training and performed really well, and then made the starting spot. And he's had a great year, in my opinion, before today.
Yeah, and it's just there's so much to discuss, I think, for next year, and we're still in September of this year where we still have a lot to figure out. We're still in the playoff race. Hopefully could get down to that 2 seed and get that first round bye. That would be big for St. Louis. But I do want to get into one of our 2 segments here today. I didn't tell you about it because I wanted to be a surprise.
Okay.
But something that you sent me a few weeks back, your favorite St. Louis Cardinal memory. I'll put you on the spot.
Well, this one's pretty easy. 2011 Game 6. I was there with my family. I was there with my grandparents and my parents. I remember it. Great game. I think that has to be number 1. It's the greatest game ever played. That has to be up there. For an honorable mention, I'll go Matt Holliday is his final home run as a Cardinal. I really like that one too.
So I guess it depends on how we want to do this because obviously, everyone's going to say oh yeah, Game 6, 2011, right? That's by far everyone's favorite memory. But for me in person, I would have to say, was it Game 5 or Game 6 of the NLCS 2013, whenever they clinched it?
Okay.
I was there with my dad. Waka, just dominated the Dodgers. We won. It was a long night, great night. Opening day this year, that was pretty special. With Albert coming back, obviously the whole recognition for Yachty, Waino, those guys. Ooh.
I haven't been to an opening day.
What's that?
I haven't been to an opening day. That's on my bucket list to go to. Yeah.
You've never been to an opening day?
No, never.
Wow. That is even if you're not a Cardinals fan, going
Uh-huh.
to a St. Louis Cardinals opening day is
Right.
like a
Yeah.
once in a lifetime experiment or
Yeah.
experience. You get the Clydesdales, you get the music, you get the Hall of Famers. I mean, the red carpet, everything is brought out, and it's arguably one of the best traditions in baseball. So I'm trying to think because I remember obviously the comeback against the Nationals with Pete Kozma and all that. That was a very good memory. I was in a hotel somewhere watching the Cardinals come back in that game. I can't remember where for the life of me, but I'd have to say, that for being in person, probably 2013 in the NLCS is probably one of my favorite memories. Do you have an
Yeah.
all-time favorite baseball memory? I mean,
An all-time favorite.
besides 2011
Besides
games.
2011. Yeah, that's probably number one up there for me. Man, that's a tough one, man. Um, the next day, the next day during Game 7, 2011, we were sitting on my couch. That was a great day too. I remember that. I was kind of disappointed. I was like, we went to Game 6, not Game 7. What are we doing? But now I know. Now I know. Like later in life, I went to the better game. Um, I, this isn't like involving the Cardinals. It's very recent, so it could be biased. But when the Braves won the World Series last year, dude, I was super hyped because they beat the Astros. I was like the most hyped man in the world. Like we were all watching it, me and my buddies, and we were just cheering for the Braves. I hate the Braves, but I love that they beat the Astros last year. That has to be up there for me. Yeah, I'll probably say those two. I mean, 2011 is just it has to be up there for me.
That's understandably it's hard to beat. I mean,
Yeah,
you witnessed arguably the greatest
yeah.
game, let alone the greatest World Series game in the history of
Mhm.
baseball. And just everything that came with it. And then the next night, you're celebrating and whatnot. But
Yeah,
that would be a very good memory. I'm a little jealous. I didn't know that you were
yeah.
there.
Yeah, I was there Game 6, and I don't remember this, but my mom told me. So when Albert Pujols left St. Louis and went to LA, apparently I cried when I was a kid. When Pujols left, I cried for a long time, and after that, Matt Holliday became my favorite player in St. Louis, and that's why I remember when the moth flew in his ear. That was really that was really good. But that last home run, that's definitely up there for me too, because all of St. Louis was on their feet. And they took him out in that last inning. That was just awesome. I loved his speech the other day too at the Hall of Fame ceremony. That was really cool.
Yeah. All right. Next segment. Play of the week, if you have one.
It's got to be the Albert home run, right?
Yeah, it
From
has to
yesterday.
be. It
Like
has to be.
there are a lot of good plays. We won a lot this week, but I that Albert home run. We were tied. We shouldn't have been tied 0-0 with the Cubs. Marcus Stroman dominated. For the first time this year against us, kind of weird. But then they bring in a lefty, and I'm like, okay, I'm calling it. It's happening. It's gonna happen. And then it happened, and I'm like, David Ross, thank you. And I look at Twitter. I was all over Twitter last night, and all these Cubs fans are just like, there's no more Albert Pujols terrorizing the Cubs for 21 years. And I'm like, if he comes back for another year, that'd be hilarious. I know he's not going to, but if he did play the Cubs again, that would be really funny. I think everyone would get pissed about that. But maybe he'll pull a Tom Brady and go in retirement and then come out. You never know.
That is possible. And even Nolan Arenado said he'd like to have him back next year, 700 or not, and he'd like to have him back in the clubhouse and as a teammate.
Yeah,
it would be interesting to see, but I mean, there's no way he comes back next year.
No, I don't think so either. I think Waino comes back. I don't, Yachty's not going to come back. I think he's kind of done. He's been done since he went to Puerto Rico for the first time. And I think Albert's going to be done too. I don't know how much more consistent he could be into next year. He can't hit righties right now, and we only bring him in for lefties. Except today, we started him, which was kind of cool. But bases loaded with one out in the first inning, and I was like, not again. I can't scream this loud again. Like, come on.
So looking ahead at the schedule,
Mm-hmm.
St. Louis, they've got 3 more with the Nationals, Quintana, Montgomery, and Wainwright pitching. And then they head to Pittsburgh for a quick 3-game trip. Michaelis, Flaherty, Quintana as your 3 pitchers there. Then back home for 6. No, 7. 2 against the Brewers and 5 against Cincinnati, including a doubleheader there. So, and then the tough trip sets in before the final home and away series against Pittsburgh. Luke, it's getting close. I mean, we are, a month away from postseason baseball.
We are a month away, and it's the best time of year. October is the best time of year with the playoffs starting, and the World Series goes until November this year. I kind of hate that. They really need to speed it up a couple of years. It is really the best time of year, and especially when the Cardinals can make it past the wild card. Cross my fingers, knock on wood, that happens this year. Alex Reyes can't give up a home run in the 9th inning this year. So I would love, everyone would love to see a deep run, but we haven't seen a deep run a couple years, 2019, right, when we went to the CS. But, a deeper run than that. You know how sick a Yankees-Cardinals World Series would be, just the history involved with that. And I think the Cardinals could take that too. We swept the Yankees this year, and, just get out Aaron Judge and you win the game. That's all you got to do.
For personal betting reasons, it wouldn't break my heart to see the Yankees, win the World Series. I hate to say that, but my parlay of champions, it's got the Yankees. Now, if the Cardinals happen to win, it's not going to break my heart that I missed my $2 parlay. So whatever.
Yeah, right.
But either option, if the other 4 came true as well in champions parlay, that's what's going to happen. But
yeah, I saw the other day that the National League playoffs this year are just going to be so much better than the American League.
Oh, by far.
The teams that are in the National League, you think the Dodgers, the Braves, the Mets, the Cardinals, throwing the Padres in there, yeah. And then you look at the American League teams, I'm like the Guardians. The Yankees are on a downhill slope. I do like the Mariners, but other than that, I don't.
I honestly think the Astros are going to come out of the American League again.
Yeah, it sucks how good they are. I hate the Astros, but I'm a Mariners fan in the American League this year. I'm going to take them.
Tampa Bay's been playing well as of late, so don't sleep on them.
Yeah, the Rays are pretty good, but they always choke in the postseason. It feels like these past few years, but when Randy turns up in the postseason, I'll be excited. I love Randy Arozarena, and he's maybe he'll steal home again this year. That'd be fun.
Well, Luke, any final remarks before we sign off here?
I'm just excited for these next few days, man. We got the Nationals in town. Besides today, hopefully we can actually take a couple games from them. But we're playing some pretty bad teams coming up, so we might be able to get Albert to 500 in the next couple weeks. Month from today, the season ends, so let's hope we can get there. At 700, not 500, but yeah.
As Danny Mac has said, get out to Busch Stadium, watch Albert Pujols, watch Yadier Molina, Adam Wainwright. It might be the last time you'll ever do it, because it is a special, special group that we've had. So for Luke Kocher, this is Colton Kaler signing off from Busch League. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.